We are getting so close to this weekly supply zone on the US dollar. I think we're probably going to be getting there this upcoming week. And this past week, we actually had a fantastic trading week. And here are some trades from last week's daily market breakdown videos. So welcome to another weekly forecast, traders, for the week of January 13th, 2025. As you can see in the DXY here, we have a beautiful daily upward trend and trend line that is still being respected. We are coming into some sort of daily supply at 109.60. We almost already reacted off of it already. It's not too concerning to me. And with this daily uptrend holding, I am expecting to contact this weekly supply at least next week, if not maybe the week after. And at that point, I think we should be holding off on US dollar longs, and we should maybe be focusing on shorts, or at least be limiting our longs. So as long as that daily upward trend line is holding, I am expecting to contact that weekly supply zone, which is also a monthly supply as well. Going back to the daily chart, if let's say we don't hit the daily supply first, the weekly supply, and we break this upward trend line, that's kind of concerning for everything I just said. So we will be monitoring this daily upward trend line. Make sure you have this exact trend line on your charts, because if it does get removed, that could be a clue. Hey, maybe we're going lower. Maybe we're not going up to that monthly supply, but honestly, or that monthly/weekly supply. But honestly, I think we are going to get there. Even the trend on the 4-hour chart is also good. There is a very, very good demand zone on the 4-hour chart at 107.13. Not only is it a good demand zone, it is also a very obvious support resistance trap liquidity area here as well, which means if we do pull back down to this demand zone, I think it's a high odds zone we could see a move off of. However, if we do contact, let's say this is the weekly supply above, let's say we contact this weekly supply first and then we hit this 4-hour demand, at that point it becomes lower odds. So I'm just saying now, if we do pull back down to it, I think it's a good zone we could see a move off of. But in the meantime, I think we should be continuing to look for longs on the dollar. Even if this weekly supply is hit, if the daily trend is still holding, I think we could still be looking for longs on the dollar. Obviously, in this forecast, I will be pointing out both long and shorting opportunities on most pairs if I do see them, because yes, there are opportunities where you could get long down here and short up here, and that still is a forecast. So let's get on to the Euro US dollar. On to the forecast for the Euro USD. You can see on the weekly chart here, we're pretty close to this weekly demand. Obviously, it's the inverse of the DXY, so this would be the weekly supply on the dollar. We are definitely a little bit further away to the demand on the euro than we are to the supply on the dollar. I still think there is profit margin down to this weekly demand zone at 0.99, so that would be where I would be targeting if you are going to get short here on the euro. Not only that, we have a beautiful daily downward trend as well, and even if we do break this downward trend on the euro, so let's say we push up, respect the trend line, we break the trend line, there is a little drop-based drop, daily supply 1.047. I think we easily could see a move off of that zone if we hit that zone, if we break this downward trend line. Is it a high odds zone? Not really, but it's a good drop-based drop that did remove a demand zone. So I think that is the nearest daily supply where you could maybe get a swing trade. You could turn a day trade into a swing trade, something like that. So that's definitely a daily supply zone you're going to want to have on your charts. In the meantime, how do we trade this? I'm not really seeing any close zones on the euro. The only thing I would be doing is I would have this trend line on your chart, the exact one I have, monitor this downward trend line. As long as it's holding, 15-minute time frame shorts are going to be good. Whether you trade supply and demand, whether you trade support and resistance, patterns, whatever you like to trade, just make sure you're doing it on a 15-minute chart as long as the downward trend line is holding. And even if we do pull up to this 4-hour supply, I also like it for a short at 1.0475. So it's definitely a good 4-hour supply zone that's actually pretty much right at the edge of that daily supply zone as well. So that's what I'm seeing here in the euro. It's day trading shorts all the way in the meantime. And as far as new zones, I don't see any new 1-hour zones or 4-hour zones that are close, except for the one up here like I just pointed out. But in the meantime, it is shorts all the way here on the Euro US dollar. On to the forecast for gold, top-down approach here. Beautiful weekly trend to the upside. Looks like this little pivot we are getting is about to end as we are pushing to all-time highs. Getting there pretty close, not super close yet, but even on the daily chart, it's not super clear. I was actually really hoping we could push down to this daily demand at 25.80. We almost did, and I actually like that we almost did, because now there's a clear area of support to trap these support and resistance traders with a real demand zone down below. even one there as well. So I still hope we can pull back down to that daily zone. I'm not seeing any evidence of that taking place just yet. I just want to point out that that is what we could be looking for if gold starts to turn around. And if you guys are enjoying this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. I do these weekly Forex forecasts every single Saturday. So that's what I'd be waiting for on the daily time frame there on gold. How do we trade this in the meantime? Well, on the 4-hour time frame, we did recently break this 4-hour supply. I was actually a little surprised we broke it so easily. I thought we'd at least get a small move off of it, but we ended up just breaking it pretty cleanly. We do have an upward trend line here on the 4-hour time frame, so draw this trend line. We are getting a little bit far away from price to where the trend line is, but that's okay for now. As long as this trend line's holding, guys, 15-minute time frame demand zones is going to be fine. If you notice up here, we have a 4-hour supply zone here above. So this is a supply zone we called out way back in November. You can go back and watch all my forecasts and watch my predictions. Caught that move, beautiful move. We actually reacted off of it again. So why I like this supply zone, I don't like it for shorting, but since not only did we call the zone out, it was a beautiful supply zone. It reacted off of it 2 times, which means it's proven. And what I mean by proven is that the supply zone was contacted and we reacted off of it, proving that there's supply up here. So how do we trade gold now? Like I said, as long as this trend line's holding, 15-minute time frame longs are fine. Let's say you're not a day trader though, and we break this 4-hour supply. If there is a 4-hour demand zone there, I think we could look for longs off of that demand zone right there if we can get that zone. And that zone will be on my chart for all the members and everything, but I don't see any new zones right now. And why I want to see the zone removed is because any demand zone that removes such a proven area of supply is going to be a good demand zone. So that's why I will be waiting for that on gold here. I know you have to be displaying a little bit of patience, but I'm not just going to come on here with these forecast guys and just say, oh, there's a setup here, setup there. I don't see anything right now on gold unless you're day trading long on a 15-minute or a 5-minute time frame with the upward trend line. But for the swing traders, we need to start to see some supply zones being removed or some daily demand zones being contacted. On to the forecast for the USDJPY on the weekly time frame here. We did call it this weekly supply many weeks ago, and we pushed up again this past week. I'm not going to zoom in for you guys, but I just did. We actually did remove this weekly supply, so trust me on that. I'm not going to bore you with the zoom in to show you, but it has been removed, and that is very, very significant in my opinion here on the USDJPY. And that removal of that zone has now left us with a weekly demand down at 151.23. I think it's very possible we do pull back all the way down to this weekly zone and react to the upside. What I mean possible is I'm not seeing any evidence of that yet. I'll show you what I will be looking for to suggest that we could be pulling back down to this zone. But what I meant to say was if we do get this pullback like I'm saying, I think this is a great area to to get a swing trade in to approach all-time highs and maybe even make all-time highs. So I think this is a beautiful weekly zone. You should definitely have it on your charts at 151.23, and I think it's a great zone to maybe look for a swing trade in. And not only that, we have a beautiful daily upward trend as well. It's a picture-perfect daily upward trend line. Make sure you have this one as well. As long as this daily trend line is holding, guys, I don't think we're pulling back down to that weekly demand zone like I was just saying on the USDJPY. So to determine whether or not we will be pulling back down to that weekly zone, we're going to have to monitor this daily upward trend line. If it gets removed, if we can close below it, that's a sign. If we can create a daily downtrend, that's an even better sign that suggests we should be going down. But for now, look at the trends. Things are looking really, really strong. We are reacting off of a daily supply from back here. So another thing I will be looking for this week is the removal of this supply zone. So let's say we can get a removal of this supply zone, and if we have a daily demand zone there, then we have a new daily demand zone we could look for a potential swing trade long off of. You can even look for day trades in there as well. So that's another thing I'll be looking for to see if that daily supply can get removed, if we can create a daily demand. On the 4-hour chart, you could also be doing the same thing but with this 4-hour supply. So if we remove this 4-hour supply there, any 4-hour demand zone there, boom, we could definitely look for long trades off of any demand zone that is formed off on that on this time frame. And the only zone I'm seeing for longs down here, and remember, we should be looking for longs in my opinion, because we removed the weekly supply above, we have a daily upward trend, we have a 4-hour upward trend, so we definitely want to be favoring longs in my opinion. The only good zone I'm seeing though on the 4-hour chart is all the way down at 155.23, a beautiful rally base rally demand zone right below a clear support trap. So if we do get a pullback down to the zone, I think it's an amazing area to get a potential trade off of that 4-hour demand zone. If you don't feel comfortable with just an entry with a stop loss and a take profit below, what you could be doing is looking for a confirmation trade on a day trading time frame off of that zone. And a confirmation, I'm not going to detail what confirmation is. We did catch a great confirmation trade on the Aussie US dollar, so keep watching for the rest of this forecast. I'll be breaking down that trade later for you guys in this forecast. But like I said, when this zone is hit, we will, as a team, be looking for confirmation on a day trading time frame on a 15-minute chart in the daily market breakdown videos. If you want to trade alongside myself and the community, join the Diamond membership for exclusive access to our daily market breakdown videos and catch trades like these. Plus, dive deep with our full-length forecast covering 26 plus markets, our interactive Sunday Zoom sessions, and personal homework to sharpen your strategy. And you'll also join our private Discord group for direct access to me and unlock a complete library of A to Z video lessons to master supply and demand trading. Don't miss out. Let's level up your trading. Links are in the description down below. So to kind of summarize again on the USDJPY, we want to start to see supply zones getting removed, demand zones being formed to look for longs off of, and pullbacks down to this 4-hour demand is also going to be good here on the USDJPY. On to the forecast for the GBPUSD, starting with the weekly chart. We have a weekly demand down below at 116, and we have the weekly supply above at 1.29. We are floating pretty much, I would say, almost dead on right in the middle of that zone. Now, I will say there's nothing really here as far as demand goes that could hold up price. Do I think we're just going to blast through here? No, I think we could even pull back to this weekly supply and then rally. But what I want to say is there's profit margin on the weekly time frame to both supply and to demand. So we're going to have to look at the lower time frames to suggest where the pound is going. But as far as swing trading goes, I think both of these demand zones are good. Actually, I'm going to tighten this one up right here, make it reasonable size actually, so tons of profit margin to the downside and to the upside. But with the daily downward trend in the pound, we should be looking for shorts as long as this daily downward trend line is holding. If we break the trend line, then that could suggest we're going to pull up to that weekly supply. But as long as this daily downward trend line is holding, guys, I think it's a great time to be looking for shorts on the pound. Even if we do get a pullback up to this little single candle drop, base drop supply zone on the daily chart at 1.285, I think it's a great area to look for a potential swing trade in. On the 4-hour time frame here, you could also be day trading this downward trend line here. And we have a new drop base drop supply at 1.246 on the 4-hour chart. So I think it's a decent little drop base drop 4-hour supply zone that we could be looking for shorts off of on the GBPUSD, as well as the day trading shorts on the day trading time frames. And the nearest zone is this 1-hour supply at 1.22. This supply zone was responsible for removing a proven area of demand. So it is a good supply zone in my opinion. Nice basing, nice move away. I like that. We are kind of staying away here as well, so that is fantastic. So if we do get a pullback up to that 1-hour supply at 1.229, I think it's a pretty good area to look for a potential short trade. I don't think it's bad to risk, 1% at a zone like this. And as always, guys, you could turn this into a day trade as well. You could be looking for confirmation on a 5-minute chart, which basically means looking for supply zones being formed as on a 5-minute chart as the 1-hour supply comes in control. So as far as the pound goes, it is shorts all the way. If you look, we have a 4-hour downtrend, 1-hour downtrend, daily downtrend. So it's shorts all the way, and pullbacks up to the supply zones I pointed out are also going to be good here on the GBPUSD. On to the USDCAD. This is the country that I am from. Let me know where you guys are from in the comments down below. Maybe even some of you guys could connect if you're from the same country. But on the weekly time frame, we have a beautiful weekly trend to the upside. Not only that, we have a nice daily trend to the upside as well. We are kind of basing out the last couple weeks here. However, with the trends being to the upside, I am expecting price to continue to break up to the upside. On the 4-hour time frame, we did get a 4-hour supply zone here. The sideways action we are seeing the last couple weeks is really evident here on this time frame in the 4-hour chart. Not only that, we are reacting off this 4-hour supply. We've already got a nice move off the supply zone there. It's not really visible, but if you look, wicked into it here, we pushed all the way down to here, so over a 1.51 trade already on that zone. But like I said, since the weekly and the daily trends are up, guys, that is our clue to suggest this supply zone could be taken out. So I was telling members and people that have been messaging me, yeah, it's a good supply zone, but if you are going to get in short here, you should only be looking for like a 1-to-1, maybe a 1-to-2 max, because it is counter trend and it's a very obvious high as well. So yes, you could still be looking for 15-minute time frame shorts as we were reacting off this 4-hour supply zone. So that is one option. If you want to continue to get in long, which is kind of what I suggest because of the trends on the weekly and the daily chart, what we need to do is we need to wait for this high and this supply to be removed. Why? Because if that happens, then this sideways price action now turns into an uptrend, which means we could be looking for longs on a 15-minute or a 5-minute chart, because then we have a new trend line we can monitor and be getting in long as that trend line is holding. That's why we need to see the high and the supply removed. Another option, if you're not a day trader, if we can get this supply zone removed and we have a demand zone down here, then we could look for longs off of that demand zone. And that is a zone I will have on the charts for all of the members in my main chart link. So those are the options here. On the USDCAD, I think it's a pretty good looking pair right now. It kind of usually isn't, but we just got to kind of just use a little bit of patience here if you want to continue to get in long. But again, if you are bearish, we are into a supply zone. So yeah, we've already kind of seen a move off that supply. So any shorts should be a quick in and out in my opinion. All right, on to the forecast for the AUDUSD. Let me show you guys a trade that we caught as a group off of this 4-hour supply zone here in the Aussie US dollar. So we had a little drop-based drop, beautiful supply zone here, massive move down. You can go back to last week's forecast. You can see I was pointing out this 4-hour supply, beautiful move, zero drawdown off of this supply. Even if you just took it as a 4-hour supply zone, if you look here, no drawdown at all. And we've targeted the low, over 4-to-1 trade. Beautiful trading setup there. But if we go to a 15-minute chart, you can see we had a beautiful confirmation trade here. We waited for this 4-hour supply zone. Remember, this is the higher time frame supply. We waited for that to become in control, and we waited for a zone to be formed. We did not remove this demand down here, which was kind of concerning. However, with such a big move away, it was fine in my opinion. And we caught a beautiful supply zone 15-minute time frame trade off that zone. I mean, the risk reward here is astronomical, right? And remember, like I said, this trade was taken from the daily market breakdown video, which you can see on the screen right now. But if you look at the risk reward here, targeting where we are at right now, we are over 10-to-1 here easily. I'm not saying you should have held that trade all the way there, but it could be a time, right, where you let your winners run a little bit because of the higher time frame trends, right? So you could have let 25% of your day trading position there run because of the daily downward trend. That is just kind of an option there on the Aussie. So enough of the trade breakdown. Hopefully some of you guys caught that trade as well, or at least the 4-hour supply. What am I seeing on the Aussie right now? I'm not really seeing anything. But however, we did just break this low here, which we've been holding this low since 2022. So it's very significant that we did break that. I will say we do have a weekly downward trend. So it is shorts all the way with a weekly downward trend, daily downward trend. All I can really say right now, again, I don't see any fresh zones. We've already caught this zone from last week. So that's one reason to subscribe to the membership as well, so you can get my forecast every single day. So what do we do for the Oz right now? All I would suggest is, since we have a weekly, daily, 4-hour, and 1-hour time downward trends, I think we should be looking for longs. Just kidding. Obviously, we should be looking for shorts because of the downward trends. You could look for longs. We just need to see a momentum break to the upside, giving us an upward trend, and then maybe we could look for longs. But right now, it is shorts all the way. Make sure you have this daily downward trend line that I'm showing you guys right now. That is important. We need to monitor that downward trend line. Monitor the 4-hour downward trend line as well. I did make it a little bit faint just for the presentation earlier, but It's shorts all the way on 50-minute charts, 5-minute charts, 1-minute charts, 1-hour charts, 4-hour charts, even the daily time frames as well, because of the trend to the downside. So however you like to trade, whether it's supply and demand or not, it is shorts all the way on the Aussie. But as far as supply and demand zones go, I don't see anything here for you guys today. I do apologize, but that's just the way it is. But we did catch a nice trade, and sometimes you catch a nice trade and there's not another setup for quite a bit. On to the forecast for the USDCHF on the weekly time frame here. We did recently just remove this weekly supply. The next thing we want to see take place is the break of this weekly high here, because then we will have an upward trend on the weekly chart, which would be significant for continuing to look for longs on the USD Swiss. However, we do have a very, very beautiful daily upward trend here, so make sure you draw this trend line. It is looking really, really strong. Even a pullback down to this daily zone at 0.886, I think it's fine to look for longs down at that daily demand zone. Another thing we could be doing is waiting for this daily supply to be broken. Any demand zone there, we could look for longs off of that zone as well. So definitely want to monitor that supply, monitor the trend line on the daily chart, and we should be looking for longs, in my opinion. As far as closer zones, what you could be doing as well as monitoring this trend line on the 4-hour chart, you could be looking for 15-minute time frame longs as long as this trend line is being respected. Even if it breaks, we should be like, so let's say price pulls up over here, maybe get in long, maybe take 1 win, 2 losses, you're up 1%, whatever. Boom, we break the trend line. From this break of this trend line all the way down to this demand, we want to hold off on trades. But as long as this trend line's holding, like I said, day trading longs are fine. Once we break it, we hold off. Then we wait for this demand zone to be hit at 0.90 on the 4-hour chart. Then we look for longs again down at that demand zone. So that is what I'd be doing here on the USD Swiss. It's longs all the way right now, especially on the day trading time frames. We need to wait for new zones to be formed in the daily chart, even on the 1-hour chart as well, and on the 4-hour chart. Like I said, pullbacks down to that little 4-hour zone that I pointed out down below is also going to be good here on the USDCHF. On to the forecast for crude oil, last but not least. This is a very tricky chart, and here is why. On the weekly chart here, we have a beautiful, picture-perfect weekly downward trend line. Yes, we are contacting the downward trend line right now, but technically it's still holding, which would suggest to us we should be going down, right, with the downward trend. Why is this tricky? Because on the daily chart, you guys know, I've been pointing out this daily supply for quite a long time. I was kind of excited about it, honestly. And we did respect it twice, but we eventually ended up breaking it. So that could be a sign that we will be breaking that weekly downward trend line. Just want to point that out, right? Because obviously, how do we break a weekly downward trend? Well, we have to start breaking daily supply zones as well. So now that this supply zone has been taken out, the next thing I want to be looking for is this daily supply to be taken out at 77.60. It's a very proven supply zone, so that'll be very, very significant. Another candle close here as well. We will have a daily demand zone down below, but that'll be for the members. If that does happen, I'm not going to draw it yet because it's technically not a zone yet. So definitely going to be monitoring this area, especially if we can remove that daily supply. So how do we go about and trade oil right now? It is tricky, right? We have just my 4-chart layout here, we have a weekly downward trend, we have a sideways daily chart, we have an upward trend on the 4-hour and the 1-hour time frame. So basically on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart, that's telling us we could be looking for longs on the day trading time frame. So for now, all I'm really seeing, until we can get a clear direction on the daily chart, monitor this 4-hour upward trend line. You could be day trading long a 15-minute chart. If that does get as long as the upper trend line is holding, I'm going to go ahead and draw a 4-hour zone right here. And I don't really like to do this, but it's a good zone. Not really according to my chain analysis, but I like to move away. I like that it broke a high. So it's 74.72. I think it's a good little 4-hour zone. We could look for a potential long trade off of. I mean, I guess according to my chain here, I guess you could say maybe some demand down here, supply, demand, whatever, but it's a good zone. It's longs all the way here on crude oil, but me as a swing trader, I want to see these supply zones taken out in the daily chart, which could indicate we could be getting a potential reversal here in oil to break a weekly downtrend that we've had since 2023. So definitely looking to get in long here on oil. We just need to be a little bit patient and wait for some daily supply zones to be removed. But in the meantime, like I said, 4-hour demand zones being formed, upper trend lines. It's day trading longs all the way here on crude oil. If you guys want to watch the full-length forecast with all the other markets, make sure to subscribe to the channel membership to get access.